Good morning. Hey, glad you could join us. I want to share something that I picked up from Bob Goff. God delights in good mischief. You ever do practical jokes? Practical jokes are all fine and dandy and good until they're not very practical. We're called to be people of generosity. And 1 John 3:17 says, if anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? We'll talk a little bit more about that verse in a moment. But there's lots of ways to prank people, and some of it's just really clever kind of stuff. There's brilliant, generous ideas. Sometimes you anonymously pay off someone's medical bill. I remember coming home from a summer trip up in Wisconsin, and the students decided that we wanted to pay the tolls for the cars behind us. This is before I-passes. This is back in the 80s. And we got together quite a bit of money and just went up and gave like $4 to this one. That would cover the next 10 cars behind us. And the students were all gathered up at the front of the bus when I would hand the money to the guy. And then we'd take pictures of the people behind us because they're like, no, I got to pay. And it's like, no. One guy that worked for the tollway said, why the blank would you want to do that? It's like, just because we want to. But then there's some pranks that kind of go dark. There's a story that comes out of Chicago. Yeah, this guy, he'd gone through a tough breakup. I don't think they were even married, but he bought a car for $600 and he put it, in his ex-girlfriend's name. And then he parked it where it'd get parking tickets. Eventually he racked up over $100,000 in parking tickets. That's a mean prank, and don't get any ideas and don't even do anything close to that. Stick to the more generous ones. You can't pay the tolls anymore, but pay the person's food at McDonald's or something. Every once in a while, like sometimes I'll see someone I know behind me and it's like, hope they didn't get too much. Pick it up. It's just a lot of fun to do stuff like that. So what if we put as much energy into delighting and being generous with one another as we put into sometimes the animosity when people have wronged us? Just the passion when we get cut off on the highway. What if we were that strong? But being generous in spirit, it doesn't always have to be money. You don't have to write a check. You don't have to pay for a beverage for somebody at Starbucks. You can. But sometimes it's being generous with other things that'll really make a difference. Be extravagant with your time. I really try to be generous with my time. People ask. I'm available. Sometimes people see me on a Sunday morning, they just think, you're so busy, you're so busy. On a Sunday morning, I would prefer not to spend more than 5 minutes with anyone because it's my one morning to at least try to connect with as many people in our church that I can. But during the week, I've got time. Call me, text me. I will make time for you. I have time. But we want to be generous with our time or attention, just being present for people. And here's one. How about patience? And we can be extravagant with patience anywhere. And it makes such a big difference between somebody that's just like, please hurry up. There's this one store that I go to. I don't like this one guy. If you're in his checkout line, he just does everything in fast motion. And it's like, there's nobody in line. Why are you doing that? It just makes me nervous. But you know what it is when somebody's impatient with you? Just be patient. Just say, it's okay. I was checking in at my cardiologist the other day and they said, be patient because this person is in training. Meanwhile, they're calling my name out to go to see the cardiologist. And I'm kind of torn in between, but I'm like, it says to be patient. So the cardiologist is just going to have to wait. The guy is just going to have to stand there at the door and say, Paul, but I don't want to rush this person here. There's nothing that they can do. They're being trained. If we see somebody in need and we don't care, something's wrong with us. And let me tell you something. There was a time where there was something wrong with me. I'd just gone through a divorce. And I remember there was a tsunami. Normally I'd be the person that'd be like, hey, we need to do something about this. But I didn't have any compassion. But you know what? God, He healed my heart. I'm not like that anymore. If you're in that season, ask Jesus to heal your heart. He will. And when you see people in need, do what you can do. God bless you. Have a great week.